News Flash Live. I'm Ronnie Dahl. Thank you so much for sharing your morning with us. Well, after hibernating all winter, I'm sure you did it just like I did. The weather is finally warm, and the Keego Harbor Parks and Recreation Department is taking advantage of the summer heat with a series of block parties. And with us now, Kirsten Douglass, the chairperson for our fine Parks and Rec Department. Kirsten, thank you so much for being with us.
Morning, Ronnie. Thank you so much for having me.
Can I just tell you, hats off, you did a great job with the parade.
Oh, thank you, and thank you so much for you and Woody for helping. I appreciate it.
You know, I think so many people don't understand a lot of work goes into these events.
Yeah, for the Memorial Day parade, it takes about 6 months for us to plan. We hurry, then we have to wait for all the registrations, and it lasts about 2 weeks of over full-time work for all of our volunteers. So yeah, it takes a lot of work, but it's so worth it to see everyone happy and having a good time.
Especially this year, I felt like we needed it. But you just kind of said that key word right there, volunteers, right? I mean, yes. We need volunteers.
It does. It takes the community to do any of these events. Our Parks and Rec Commission are all volunteers. And then we volunteer to actually help put on these events for our community, but we need others to participate. Even if you don't want to sit on the commission, just coming to volunteer for like the Memorial Day parade, we need people to help close the roads. For the block party, help set up the games for people at the park, that kind of stuff.
So I'm excited to talk about the block party because did you guys do one or two of these last year?
We did one last year. It was an idea to bring music back to the park. So it's at Rose Starter Park, and it was in September. And when we started planning the event, kind of fun, we decided on the time, not realizing that it got dark earlier. So the band played into the night, which is funny, only until 8:30, but it was dark. So it was a huge success. So we decided to make it a series, a summer series. So it's the third Friday of June, July, and August from 5:30 to 8:30. So the sunlight will still be there for us.
I love this because I know Sylvan Lake does so many of those, and yeah, okay, wait, let's all admit it, we all go there and enjoy some of their events. So it's great to see that Keego is now doing these. So kind of give us all the details about Friday's event. What time is it, the music, all that good stuff.
Definitely. So we're kicking it off. It's this Friday. From 5:30 to 8:30. We have live music by Serious Jack. It'll be at Rose Sorter, which is the park right behind City Hall if you can call downtown Keego. And then we will also have a food truck, the Barbecue Guys. It's a veteran-owned food truck, and I'm super excited. Their loaded nachos look amazing if you check out the Facebook pages. And then we will have a fundraiser, because again, it takes finance support to support our event, and so we're going to do a trivia fundraiser. Last year we did Dunk the Chief. We dunked Chief Fitz, which was, I appreciate him doing that even on his anniversary, but it was amazing. So we had such a good time, and this year we're going to try, or this event we're going to try trivia, or we're going to do trivia. You can win a gift card. It's $5 to enter, and you can have a team up to 5 people. Other things to note about this one, like I said, to 8:30, bring some chairs, bring your blankets. We do have some picnic tables, but not a ton of them. And then there'll be games like cornhole and ladder golf and yard Jenga to play as well with your neighbors.
That's great. Hey, can I ask you, when it comes to the trivia, can you use your Google?
That's a great question. I actually don't have the answer because I'm not in charge of that part of it. I would say no, because then it kind of takes away from it, right?
Right. I'm always like, you know, when you have people and they're on these radio stations, I'm like, Google it, Google it, Google it.
Right, it's the time. I think it's how fast it goes that you might not have a chance to do that. So that's something I'll ask our committee who does the trivia to.
I'm going to be like, hey Siri, will you be my date Friday night?
There you go.
And then she can answer all my questions for the trivia.
And actually, I don't even know the question, so I'm going into it as blindly as you guys are.
So how do you find the bands and the food trucks?
Just research. I'm constantly on Facebook, on different parks and rec pages, seeing who other people have contracted and then just putting out the feelers and finding out if they're within our budgets and our means and stuff like that. So, oh, and then if I can make two plugs, I do want to thank Jets Pizza. They are sponsoring some of our music act, and as well as Dairy Queen for the prize for our trivia. So I want to thank our local community that step up and actually help us too. So thank you to them.
I love that. Jets, by the way, it does have some of the best pizza in the area, right?
Yes.
So I don't know how many times we've eaten there, but we don't want to count.
Our family is usually once a week, and their ranch is my favorite.
So Kirsten, can I ask, is this open to kind of our neighboring friends as well, or is it a Keego only event?
No, of course. Anyone who wants to come is welcome.
That's great, because you know, some of these, it's you know, some of the other neighboring communities feel like maybe they're not welcome. So I love that, because you know, we all hang out at Sylvan Lake and Orchard Lake and West Bloomfield, so they can come over to our party, because you guys are putting the cool in Keego.
Thank you. Everyone's welcome. The more the merrier.
So with that too, do you guys still need volunteers for the Parks and Rec, or are you guys full right now?
No, we have 3 vacant alternate spots. So the commission is actually full, but we have vacant spots on for the alternates. Mm-hmm.
What have you learned by volunteering? It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, right? It is. I do have an events background, so that helps me. So our Parks and Rec is very well-rounded. We all kind of have our little niche, and we work really well together, which is what I love. Like, we have someone who's very knowledgeable about invasive species and rain gardens and stuff like that, because there's the park aspect of Parks and Rec, and I tend to do more of the events part of it, because that's my background. So we work really well together. It is a lot of work, not just planning the event, but actually executing the events too. But I just love how much heart our city has. I love that when the community comes out, they're so happy, and it's just nice to see everyone around. So I just love our small community.
Right? And how many people have you met by doing this? You probably know everyone in Keego now, all 30 or 3,000 of us, right?
I don't know if I know them, but they've probably seen at least one post from me or gotten an email from me. So, but it's just nice to see everyone having a good time, and it fills my bucket to know that that's something I could have been a part of.
I feel like, because how long have you lived in Keego now?
6 years.
So we've been here about 15, and I feel, and now with you guys on the parks, like that's kind of really making it feel more of a community and bringing people together, because we would do, you know, maybe the Christmas lighting of that little tiny tree, which it has grown up now, but you know, those little events. But I feel like, you know, by doing some of these bigger community events, it really is making it feel like more of a neighborhood per se.
I couldn't agree more, and it's just coming up with ideas, but honestly, after a while, there's only so many events we can do without getting more volunteers to help. So if our residents and supporting residents love these events, we need your help. We need bodies to actually execute these.
So anything else that you guys are kind of tossing around as possibilities, or you're like, hey, these are enough?
Right now, these are enough, but no, we are constantly brainstorming ideas. We're kind of coming up with a volunteer day where everyone comes out to the park to help with, is it painting one of the grills? Is it helping sand down one of the benches and restaining it? That kind of stuff, just to, again, it's not just events, it's also our parks and the infrastructure of our parks, and making sure that they are well loved and maintained. So we're coming up with something like that. A park walk fundraiser, so that we do tours and just, you know, give the history of each of the parks. So there's a lot still coming down the pipeline. We were excited that last year we did the Taste of Keego 2.0, which was Restaurant Week. Mother Nature was not kind to us. Mother Nature was very kind to me for the Memorial Day parade, but not for that, because the first 2 days it was a blizzard, and so all the roads were shut down and some of the restaurants were shut down. So we'll try that again this year. Hopefully with some better luck. But yeah, we're constantly coming up with different ideas, and yeah. make sure that you like our Facebook page and Instagram pages so people can stay in touch with us. And most of the event information is also on our city website.
Well, thank you so much. I'm going to throw one more thing out there for you, and I will even volunteer to help you guys with this as well. A haunted trail right behind our house. Sylvan Lake's been doing it over the past 2 years, but we get so many kids in our neighborhood for Halloween, and I'll even, I'll even go bug the businesses to get the candy donated. How's that?
That sounds amazing. Oh, and I have to say that the Pooch Parade got approved at this last council meet, or our last Parks and Rec meeting. So I'll be reaching out to you to help with the Memorial Day Pooch Parade. That's
awesome. Too bad Trixie's not too people friendly. Maybe I can borrow a nice dog.
There you go.
Well, Kirsten, thank you so much, and we'll see you Friday night.
Sounds great. Thanks so much for having me.
Again, the Keego Harbor Block Party is happening Friday night. They're right behind City Hall. And of course, as always, we want to know about the people in our neighborhoods. So each week we like to highlight someone from the greater West Bloomfield community going above and beyond to improve our area. Let us know about them. We made it easy. Scan the QR code on the screen, fill out the Google form with the person's contact info and why you think they should be recognized. By the way, it can be a person, business, or an organization. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live.
Teens a day die from texting and driving. Don't text and drive.
Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
And now, back to The Splash Live.
Happening around town, items are still being collected to help with the benefit for local DJ Rico Shelton. Rico suffered a stroke in May and has a long road of recovery ahead of him. To help, friends, family, and local businesses have organized the benefit for Rico. Again, it's happening Thursday, June 16th at the Time Out Lounge. It's just over the Keego border right there in Waterford. It starts at 5. Bidding on the silent auction items ends at 8. They have some cool things, so you want to check that out. Hey, Lily Pad Springs Twilight Edition. How fun is this? You can get your tickets. This is a great way to enjoy the new water park. It's again Thursday, 6:30 until 8:30. They are going to have an ice cream truck there, and you can pre-purchase your tickets at the westbloomfieldparks.org. Residents, by the way, can get your tickets 30 days in advance because they have several of these coming up, so you may want to do that. Non-residents, rather, 15 days. And of course, if it's not sold out, you can get tickets the day that it is happening. You're watching The Splash Live, a show dedicated to all things West Bloomfield, Keego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, and Orchard Lake. You can catch the show live Monday through Friday, 9:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. and on demand on CivicCenterTV.com. When we come back, we are talking summer injuries. That's next here on The Splash.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live.
Let's savor these moments. Made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
No, it's peaceful. is quiet, and the noise and stress of life can sometimes disappear.
It's the Great Lakes water, and so what people do ends up in our waterways.
It's for our health and safety, it's for our economy, it's for protecting the environment that we all enjoy and we all need to survive.
So clearing storm drains and the areas nearby of trash and leaves helps keep them for rain only.
We're all about one water in this region. We're all connected. We all have a role.
And now, back to The Splash, live.
Well, summer fun can bring summer injuries, but when do you know if it's serious enough to go see a professional? With us now, our good friend Dr. Jamie Tawil with Grand River Medical. Good morning. I miss talking to you.
Good morning. It's good to see you again. I miss talking to you too. How have you been?
Happy heat wave, a summer day.
Oh my gosh, it is insane out here.
You know what's so unusual is some kind of perspective, because I went to college in the South. So this weather was normal for us, really, and you know how to adjust to it. But I think it's going to be a very hard day for so many people here in our area. So with that, like, I always get confused. What's the difference between a heat stroke and heat exhaustion?
Well, heat exhaustion is just, significant overheating, fatigue, and heat stroke, I believe, is when you start to have more significant symptoms like passing out and things to that effect. I mean, heat exhaustion will wear you down. Heat stroke is pretty dangerous. They both are dangerous, but, you want to make sure that you are maintaining hydration and staying cool as much as possible, listening to your body throughout these times. And I know a lot of times with the summer, alcohol plays a bit of a role, so people aren't paying such close attention. They're also getting a little bit more dehydrated as of, if you're drinking alcohol, you're not drinking water, you're going to get a little bit dehydrated. So always going to recommend, if you're going to do that, always have a glass of water in between drinks to maintain hydration. Also helps with hangovers, things to that effect. I'm
kind of like, were you reading my mind? Because I was totally counting down the hours going, oh, I can get out on my paddleboard today. And, when you go out on the water, you have to have your adult beverage with you.
Of course. I don't think I'm reading your mind. I think I'm reading the mind of all of the Michiganders that enjoy the lakes. I mean, this is just, it is what it is.
Right? As you may remember, I live on the West Bloomfield Trail, and it's been crazy busy right now. And it's like they're weekend warriors out running and biking. So do you see an increase in injuries this time of year?
Absolutely do. I see an increase in injuries in people that have been pretty sedentary throughout the winter or weren't able to really do those outdoor activities that they love so much. You have a few hardcore people that will go running in the dead of winter, but for the most part, people have been keeping it inside. And then when the summer hits, they get back out there, and they get back out there with the same vigor that they had the last day of the previous summer. And that unfortunately leads to injuries. People aren't stretching as much. People aren't taking it as easy. You got to work your way back into it. So people tend to, a lot of sprains, a lot of pains, a lot of shoulder injuries from throwing and things like that. So
when you have that, when do you know if you should go see a doctor and get off of, the Google doctor, WebMD?
I think any pain should be taken seriously, of course. My usual comment to people is bad things do one thing only, and that's get worse over time. So if things don't heal right away, or there's a difference between working with a little bit of pain and working through pain. So in other words, discomfort is normal, pain is not. So if something is hurting significantly, and other symptoms as well, pain is one thing, but pain with weakness is a different story. Pain with numbness in certain areas, a totally different story. Pain with limitation to range of motion. If my shoulder hurts, that's one thing, but my shoulder hurts and I can't lift it, that can be a bit of a problem. So, I would take everything seriously. Most physicians have, an online portal or availability to the point where they can reach out to their doctors to see if this is something worth getting looked at. But for the most part, any pain with a second type of symptom might be something worth looking into. And of course, the reason for the pain, I walked a mile and now my leg is bothering me versus I fell down, a boat dock and now my leg is bothering me. The trauma might be something you'd want to look at a little more.
Yeah, I remember last year starting out running and I fell, and I thought it was just a sprain, but then it was swollen and black and blue, and I think like a week into it I finally went and got it x-rayed and it was a fracture. So
yeah, fractures tend to bruise very heavily. Bones leak a lot of blood. So any type of pain like that with swelling is one thing, but if you get a lot of bruising, that should definitely get looked at. Ankle injuries are huge this year. The ground is still a little soft, so people are rolling their ankles. Make sure you get that looked at. You don't want to keep walking on an injury and making it prolonged, things to that effect. So
I feel like it's harder as we get older, though. I don't know if it's just snap, crackle, pop, like a bowl of Rice Krispie treats because I'm an old person, or it's because I'm not moving enough and, really need to, I don't know, go see someone.
Well, I mean, I think every patient, every person out there should at least see their doctor before the summer, just to A, get a physical, and B, just kind of get a good, clear idea of what their summer activities should be, and get a clear baseline of what they can and can't do. Now, aches and pains that tend to start out in the morning and get a little bit better throughout the day, that can be more of an arthritic type pain, and that's usually what that is. It's called like a gelling phenomenon. You wake up, you're really sore. The more you move, it's like the Tin Man. You kind of start loosening up and then things get easier. That's pretty common for arthritis and things to that effect. But if you're running and every time I run, the inside of my right knee starts bothering me, well, you might have a meniscal issue, you might have a medial collateral MCL ligament issue, things to that effect. So you want to make sure that you're looking into those recurrent things that happen and are persistent. A lot of repetitive motion injuries we see as well, things that don't necessarily have trauma preceding it, but you're doing the same thing over and over and it's something new. You start to have injuries that kind of form over that repetitive motion, just beating, stress fractures of the foot and so on.
It's funny because as we get older as adults, we don't get physicals. Like, remember back when you were in like junior high and high school, you always had to get that physical to go play your, school sports. I think all adults, we need to bring that back. Let's like make it an issue,
I think we do. Those physicals saved a lot of kids, but at the same time, it's good as an adult to get looked at. Have me take a listen to you. Do you have a huge murmur that needs to get evaluated? Is your heart beating irregularly? You're not feeling it. Some of those things, while benign initially, because you're feeling fine, you don't realize it's happening. But the minute you start to stress yourself, ramp that heart rate up, then things can start to become a problem. So as adults, yeah, everyone should be getting a yearly physical. I think it's definitely necessary. On top of checking all the other boxes, checking for age-appropriate cancer screening, prostate cancer, colon cancer, breast cancer, checking your cholesterol levels, making sure you're not diabetic. I could go on for days.
Hey, so can I ask you, Doctor, are you guys still able to do telehealth?
Yeah. My practice, I like seeing patients. I like having my hands on patients and the interaction, person to person. So I don't do it as often for emergencies or patients that are a little bit more difficult, but there's still a lot of options for telehealth. I know a lot of physicians who have continued telehealth practices simply for, overhead reasons, ease, less waiting times, things like that. But for me, as a primary care physician, I oftentimes, I want to get labs. I want to do a physical exam. So I will do telehealth for simple things, like I feel like I have a urinary infection. Well, okay, that's pretty obvious. We can treat that. And if it doesn't get better, then I'll see you in the office. But, you can't do, I personally believe you can't do a yearly physical through a monitor, but other physicians can and do, a lot of, I don't want to ramble, but a lot of surgeons they do a lot of follow-ups with patients via telehealth to try, because they just want to know that things worked out well and that they're improving. A lot of that can just be question and answer as opposed to physical exam.
But the thing I like about telehealth is you don't have to be weighed.
Yeah,
and you don't have to go in and step on that scale when you get in the doctor's office. You can tell them a chick, right?
Weight loss is my number one question these days. It's all about weight loss. Everybody's, COVID plus winter it was just devastating to everyone, myself included. My Lord. It's been a rough one.
So with that, about another minute with you, Dr. Tawil, can I ask you, COVID, I'm happy that it's not the first question out of my mouth anymore, but still around, right?
Yes, I'm starting to see a lot of cases again. Thankfully, this wave that I'm seeing, if I even want to call it a wave, but the amount of patients that are getting COVID are having much milder cases. It's not as severe, thank the Lord. The hospitals are still getting busy, but they're not as overcrowded as it once was. But COVID is still out there, and COVID is definitely happening. So please be cautious, especially since a lot of people aren't wearing masks anymore. I'm not suggesting that's a bad idea, but at the same time, it is still a possibility, and COVID is still there. People that have had COVID are still dealing with the symptoms of it. Up to a year later at this time, that we're still seeing patients that have these symptoms, including headache, hair loss, fatigue, shortness of breath, phantom chest pains, issues with memory and concentration, brain fog. That's a huge one.
Wow, that's so amazing. Always, as always, it's been great to have you on. I so appreciate your time. Stay cool today. Go out on the lake. Take the day off.
Nah, it's air conditioning for me. Take care. It's so good to see you.
You too. Take care. Take care, everyone out there. It's going to feel like over 100 degrees today, so if you can't stay inside, please be sure to hydrate. That's going to wrap it up for today's edition of The Splash Live. Thank you to our guests for taking time for being with us, and thank you to you, our friends, for tuning in. This has been The Splash. We'll be back tomorrow.